So when Pokémon Legends Z-A was announced in February of 2024, I can say with confidence that it got fans pretty excited. After all, it wasn't only going to serve as the follow-up to the critically acclaimed Pokémon Legends Arceus, but also as the long-awaited sequel to Pokémon X and Y. After 12 years, I'm getting old, fans might finally get answers to burning questions like, what's up with that ghost girl? Why are there so many construction workers? And what's the mystery behind Zygarde?
That mysterious danger noodle.
But I'm excited about this game for a different reason. Because Lumiose City is based on Paris and I plan on eventually going to France to compare it to the Kalos games, I figured I could use Pokémon Legends Z-A to learn French. Now, I should probably explain how this game is going to teach me French. Simply put, I'm gonna play it in French. I'm not gonna look at any spoilers or any sort of guide. I'm just gonna play it in a language I barely know and try to review it with what I can glean from my broken understanding. Pokemon is how I learned to read English. My mom would get furious with me because I would constantly bug her to read out attack names or long drawn out dialogue. My anxious, I'll just do it myself nature started there, and I just forced myself to learn to read. I'm hoping that almost 25 years later, I can replicate that. So it's probably best to test my current French level to see if there will be any improvement over the next couple of weeks. I've enlisted the help of fellow YouTuber Potomax, who just so happens to be from Quebec. All of his videos are in French with English subtitles, and he's helped me out with things like thumbnails and graphics, so I feel like he would be the best person to help me out with this project. Hey Max!
Hey, thanks, Bree! Glad to be here.
I am so nervous about this. Before I let any of those nerves get to me, can you real quick give a quick introduction for yourself? Who are you? What do you do? Why are you here?
Yes, I'm kind of a Quebec gaming historian, so I do a bunch of videos on obscure video game related stuff, all linked to the province of Quebec. And I've also done a bit of work for your channel in the past year. I've done some thumbnails editing, a little bit of video editing also, kind of for the Arceus video. So I just like making videos and deep diving into weird, obscure stuff.
And most importantly, you speak French.
Well, yeah, I speak French Canadian, so my mother tongue is French,
So, I've enlisted you to do this. You prepared 5 questions for me. I want it to be like an assessment test. So, like, level 1 to level 5. Talking to a baby to talking about politics.
Just quick details on my questions. So I decided for all of my 5 questions to be Pokemon related. And if I name a Pokemon in the question, it's going to be the English Pokemon name. Question 1. Quel est ton Pokémon préféré?
Oh, thank God. I studied this one. Je préfère Woopa.
Yeah! Yes. You could say either Je préfère Wooper or Mon Pokémon préféré est Wooper. You basically got it.
Woopa. Okay, I got it. I'll take it. Yeah.
Yes.
No repeats?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, you're better than a baby.
Oh my God, I've beaten babies. All right, we're good.
Question number 2. De quel animal Miaus est-il inspiré par?
Oh my God. Oh no. Okay, it came to me. All right. Miaus est un chat.
Yes! Yeah, Miaus est un chat.
Miaus est un chat.
Yes, you got it! That's perfect.
I don't even need to play the game, dude.
It's still not done. There's a bunch more words coming in.
Oh my God. All right. I'm shaking.
Yes, I see that.
This is going so much better than I thought it would.
You ready for number 3?
Yes.
Quel est le nom du jeu de Pokémon avec Rayquaza sur la boîte? It's getting a bit trickier, so...
My default is always to go to Japanese. When I panic, I'm just like Japanese just comes out.
That won't help with me.
I'm gonna just take a guess and say Groudon et Kyogre.
No.
Oh, okay.
Do you want the answer, I guess?
No, I kind of want to remain confused for a little bit. Question number 4. Oh, fuck.
You never know. You might break through number 4, number 5. Okay, number 4. Si tu pouvais avoir un Pokémon comme papa, lequel choisirais-tu et pourquoi?
I think I heard the word owl somewhere in there. I could be completely wrong.
I'm gonna give you a little clue. That's wrong.
Well, that takes away like 3 Pokemon that I can answer with. So there's something it's a what and why question, right?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. So you got that, but what?
So I feel like I know all of those words. How do you say my dad is dead?
I'm going to give you a clue. It's not a factual question. It's more of an opinion question.
Okay, so here we say mon papa préféré muck parce que middle finger. I'm probably not even there.
Oh, okay.
I mean, maybe I'm completely off.
Yeah, that wasn't the question.
Cool. All right.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Last question. Maybe I can break through.
This one has a lot of words, so I'm already sorry for you, but that's like the last level. Okay. Si je branche mon Game Boy couleur avec ton Game Boy Advance, avec les jeux Pokémon jaune et Pokémon argent, et que je t'échange un Kadabra contre un Machop, que va-t-il se passer?
That's the whole question? Oh, no. I was hoping. This is not an opinion one. This is a fact one, right?
No, it's a factual one, yes.
Yeah, it's a factual one. Okay. So, Kadabra et Machop ne evolve pas.
You almost got it, but you answered the wrong.
God, okay. I thought it would be like a trick question.
If I had to give you a grade, I think it should be somewhere in the C range.
C range. I'll take C range. With a grade good enough to get me into any Kansas college, I was feeling pretty confident. But I wanted to shoot for the stars. I was going to aim for a grade that could get me into any college in a place of prestige, like Ohio. And with all of that out of the way, it's finally time to boot up Pokémon Legends Z-A in French. And because it's French, I decided to go with a fancier version of my name. Just add a little bit of flair. Everyone, meet Frey. The game starts with a weird scene through the eyes of who I can only guess is the protagonist character. This appears to be a scene from later on in the game, and I'm gonna kind of guess that it's a red herring to make these two look evil. I genuinely don't know what's happening here or what's being said, but I think these two might have messed up something. And because of that, Prism Tower is all wacky. Our next scene is the actual start of our story. We arrive in Lumiose City by train. Upon leaving the train station, we immediately meet Seti, who's here to find lost tourists and guide them to a hotel she's working for. Of course, she sees Frey looking like an absolute dork in that getup and instantly marks us as a clueless tourist. The perfect target. At least, that's what I think I could get from the dialogue. I'm gonna probably make a lot of mistakes throughout this review, so bear with me and feel free to make fun of me in the comments. I'm just as excited to get things wrong as I am right. Continuing from that, after Seti greets us, our conversation is interrupted by a video on a billboard, basically explaining how Lumiose City is a place for Pokemon and people to live in harmony. I hate when my conversations are interrupted by exposition billboards. This woman, Bridget, is president of the Quasar Group, and early prediction, actually evil. I just don't trust her. She's got hardcore stepmother energy. During this exposition distraction, our bag is stolen by a Pancham. Apparently, it could also tell that we're a lost tourist, so it decided to pickpocket. You know, because Paris. We give chase, eventually running into Pancham's trainer and her friend. I can't tell if these two are good guys and Pancham's just being a little thief, or if they're bad and put it up to it. This is where you get to choose your partner Pokemon. I had every intention of playing with Chikorita because Chikorita gets a lot of hate online, and I adore Chikorita. But I also realized that Tepig is quite the target for bullying as well, and I love Tepig too. I'm sorry, I should say Grookey. I was really unsure of who to go with, but then I saw that Grookey can release fat flames from its groin, and that absolutely tipped it over for me. Welcome to the team, my plump friend. Also, I refuse to look up what groin translates to in English. Let me have this. So we have our first battle, which I will review the battle mechanics later on in this video because as of my first night of playing, I'm definitely not used to it yet. I don't want to go over every single detail of the story because this game seems to be very narrative driven so far, and I don't want to make a 16-hour long video. Unless. But after this battle finishes and the Eternal Flower Floette saves us from getting mugged by a couple of shady trainers, we finally make it to the hotel, where we meet Mr. AZ, the guy from the meme! I'm writing this review as I play the game, and I have a feeling that Mr. AZ will be important throughout, so I'll talk more in depth about him later. For now, we're just a wary, clueless tourist who needs a place to stay. But after Seti saw our trainer skills with Fat Flame Groinhog, she gets an idea. We're officially asked to join her little hotel club group thingy called Team MZ. And on day 2, we're introduced to so many characters. Like Rudy. Rudy is so cute. And I think she's a bit clueless. The game's tutorial and introduction of concepts continues, including meeting Myosotis, a professor who'll grant you TMs depending on how many and what kind of Pokemon you catch. By the way, TMs are called CT in French. From what I could gather, this is kind of the Pokédex quest of the game. But I realize, as I'm writing this script, I can't really get a good read on the characters. Like, I didn't take in any information on Myosotis from the dialogue. She's angry at something or someone, and I have no idea who or what. I don't really know her backstory or her personality, but probably it could just be too early in the game to get any real info on her. After this, we meet another member of Team MZ named Ino and get a hat. Yeet. Side note, and I'm putting this in the review in the final hours of editing, I thought Ino was a girl throughout the entire time of my playthrough. But nope! Ino is a dude. Come nighttime, our first battle royale begins, and we're taught how to jump people. You know, because Paris. All of this was pretty easy to understand even if I don't know the language, and after you get enough points to earn yourself a battle ticket, you get to have your first official battle. This was very easy, but I'm slightly stressed about doing this process 25 more times. After our battle, we meet Millie. She's a detective and close friend to Seti. Also, I've seen the internet. Y'all are freaks. The night ends with Team MZ eating some food, just like how Legends Arceus would end its missions. From this interaction, I think Seti is making the food, Rudy is really into the food, and Ino doesn't want any part of it. But I'm not sure if I'm getting that information from the dialogue or just context clues. The game continues its almost 3-hour tutorial into day 3. This is where we meet Nivis, who has the most Mega Man music I've ever heard. He's with the Pions de la Justice, who I think want to abolish the wild zones. As of meeting him, he seems sort of antagonistic, but early prediction, he'll be a good dude who just so happens to be radical in every sense of the word. On this day, we meet Millie for a second time, and we officially join her detective agency. To test us, she has us do a few side missions. This was the first place where I got lost, but it was just because I was rushing through things and not properly reading the text. Once I relaxed and actually took the time to read, I understood that I had to do 3 trial missions before moving on. And now that I'm a part of Millie's detective agency, it looks like we got missions, just like in Legends Arceus. So far, most of the ones I've done as of writing this part of the review have been really easy and haven't really required me to know how to read. It's mostly just been battles or missions that are in the immediate area. And I think with that, the tutorial is mostly over, and I'm kind of free to actually play the game. As I play, I'm seeing certain words come up constantly, and I'll use a French to English dictionary to figure them out if the context clues aren't enough. I'd say that playing through the tutorial wasn't too helpful in practicing my French because it was pretty much just following around Seti for 3 hours. When I was finally free to roam around on my own, I could start picking up on more words and phrases. Pretty much everything, from Pokemon's names to attacks, are different, so I really have to go on my knowledge of Pokemon to construct my team's movesets and such. It also helps that the battle style is really good for
Random button mashing.
but also, it's cool to read the attack names in French because I think it's helping me learn. I particularly like the French word for flamethrower, lance-flamme. I also feel like it's worth mentioning here, the game looks great, I think. I also thought the same thing about every other Pokemon game release, and if you ask the internet, I'm wrong. But there's nothing in this game that sticks out negatively to me. In fact, something about the detail and extravagance of each character kind of reminds me of Pokemon Colosseum and Gale of Darkness. The character designs are really cool, if not a little bit over the top, and I love that we got pure customization back. Even if it's kind of jarring going from a game where all of your clothing options were dork, but seasonal, to literally anything. As for performance, I'm yet to experience any sort of lag, and the loading times are incredibly fast. Sometimes Pokemon can get caught on obstacles in funny ways, but that's just a quirk of the game, not performance. I don't like the ladder climbing animation in this though. It looks so weird, and it's so fast, which just looks goofy. Keep in mind, I went to the pro wrestling school of climbing ladders, so any sort of urgency on a ladder makes me sick. I went out of my way to get a Switch 2 so I could play the higher quality version. I generally don't care about graphics or FPS or potential glitchiness. I have an old capture card that can't record in super high quality, so sorry about that, PC gamers. If I wasn't making this video, I probably wouldn't be playing the Switch 2 version. However, I wanted to try to get as good as quality as I could, and luckily for me, my friend CQ sent me a North American Switch 2 for free.
Dude, I said it's not for free. It's been 3 months since I've gotten you that Switch, and I have not seen even a single penny. When are you gonna pay me?
Well, okay, to be fair, I get paid in yen, so I couldn't pay you in pennies. But also, you had mentioned that this is for free. When you messaged me, you were like, I'll get this for you free, and it's for free. Yeah, so thank you, man.
No, your name is free. What are you talking about?
Well, your name is CQ. Well, it doesn't really matter what our names are. I just appreciate that you bought me this Nintendo Switch for free. I appreciate that.
No, you need to pay me. What are you talking about? I literally bought it for you, and I put for free on the package.
Yes.
Not because it's free. That's your name.
Look, I'm sorry. I feel like asking me to pay for this is kind of, it's inconsiderate because it's really expensive.
Yeah, I know. I bought it.
No, it's really expensive, and like I couldn't afford one of these. So whenever you said that you'd get me one,
Neither could I. That you need to pay me. I haven't even received any money. It's not for free. Your name's free. What are you talking about?
I'm talking about you being a good friend, and I thought you were a great friend. Not even a good friend. I thought you were a great friend. Almost my best friend. Not my best friend. I can't. You're not my best friend.
Pay each other for Switch 2s that aren't free. That's your name.
Dude, you've never paid me for a Switch 2.
Yeah, I bought you the Switch. Huh?
All right. Love you.
I'm not giving my money, am I?
No. Continuing on the actual overview and review of the game, once we reached rank V, things kind of got a bit freaky. Zygarde, in its dog form, comes and finds us to tell us that something's going down. As it turns out, there's an Absol wilding out on a roof just surging with energy. Zygarde helps us get to the roof, and we battle Mega Absol using a random Mega Lucario that AZ happens to have. I'm gonna catch flack for this, but Lucario does nothing for me, and being forced to use it in X and Y is a huge tick in the no thank you box. This game is repeating that, and I'm not about it. No thank you. We beat Absol into relaxation and earn ourselves the Absolite. Yeah, not using that one either. As of now, I don't know what's going on or why Absol acted like this. Maybe it has something to do with Prism Tower in the opening scene? I can kind of guess that Zygarde is getting involved because it's a good boy and can sense the hero in me. Next up, we get called on by Musquat, the man with the man-bunnery. Apparently, he got news of our Absol beating and he wants to test us out for himself. He's set to be our next opponent in the Z-A Royale, but his rank is a mystery. They're just doing everything they can to make him look suspicious, but I will not buy it. Even if I have no idea what he's saying, I cannot be convinced this man is secretly evil. After we beat him, it's revealed that he's a pretty high level, and we jump from V to F. Part of me thinks this is going to be taken away from me somehow, but it's nice to skip over essentially half of the alphabet. We have a short meeting with Musquat where he asks us for our help with something called Mega Evolution Feral. I couldn't find what this word means, and I was nervous to Google it because of spoilers. However, this meeting ends suddenly when President Bridget shows up. I'm still suspicious of her, but not my main man Musquat. And from this point on, I kind of started to struggle to understand everything. I thought I had a pretty good understanding of French, but this part of the game kind of shook me. So why am I learning French? Well, I've been traveling throughout the real world Pokemon regions. I've gone to the places that have inspired Kanto, Johto, Hoenn, and I don't intend to stop there. I also don't intend on stopping at just the Japanese regions. It occurred to me that I can speak Japanese. I could travel the first 4 regions with no real issue. Unova, Alola, and Galar are all based on places where people primarily speak English, I think. Because of where I grew up, I have a decent understanding of Spanish, so maybe Paldea/Spain would be okay. So that leaves Kalos. And the French.
Ah, the French.
Last year around this time, on a Pokemon-inspired whim, I began to study French, and I've been having an absolute blast. For the longest time, I've been a stereotypical American. I've had a pretty bad aversion to the French. But being in a different culture for almost a decade has cleared up my way of thinking. It also helps that I'm a nerd, and if Pokemon inspires me, I'll do anything. Literally anything. My confusion with the story began as after our battle with Musquat, Team MZ has a meeting at the hotel. I don't understand almost anything about the meeting or what's being said. Like, I have no idea what's going on right here, and everything feels so random. But I'm starting to get their personalities a bit more, and I think I know that Rudy is a dancer. And I think Eno designs clothes or something. After all, he gave me a hat. He's also into watching live streams. Or he finds the meeting boring and checks out. Unsure, but relatable. Turns out this meeting was to plan for us to split up and take on a couple of Mega Evolved Pokemon, including the new Mega Victory Bell. Mega Victory Bell is a 10 out of 10 design, by the way. Anyone that says otherwise is a fool. Also, AZ gives us the Mega Stone for Emboar, and I'm so glad I avoided the internet during the first weekend this came out. Seeing Mega Emboar for the first time on my own television screen was heavenly. Bit of a tame Mega Evolution though, right? And after all 3 battles are done, Zygarde challenges us to a battle and gives us a ball of mud. Then, a mysterious dude named L shows up. Now, I don't know about you, but that looks an awful lot like Lysander. I didn't take in much from this exchange because I was too busy trying to think of a Death Note joke. I got nothing.
I'll take a potato chip and eat it.
I think he's warning us about something and saying things like, Zygarde is concerned about all the Mega Evolution energy. That's my Lysander voice. And then our next opponent is revealed. A girl named Nautica that Eno happens to be a big fan of. We battle with Eno to get her help with Nautica because, as it turns out, even if she is our next selected opponent, we still have to jump through hoops to battle her. The next part of the game was where I genuinely struggled the most, and I really had to lock in and read every word. We end up at a quiz and Eno feeds us information through an earpiece. The only way that we're gonna get a battle with Nautica is by answering every question correctly. I really didn't want to mess this up, so I read as carefully as I could and even tried to look up some words. Somehow, I got this down on the first go, and I'm kind of convinced that any answer would be okay. After we successfully earn ourselves any request from Nautica, we ask for a battle, because we have no choice. Why do I have to jump through hoops? As it turns out, Nautica isn't real. It's this old construction worker. But haha! Got you! Nautica is real! I'm genuinely confused by what's going on right now. I think this is her grandpa and the construction company is her fan club, but we battle with the real Nautica and her Mega Electros, another pretty good Mega design, win with ease, and move on. So we're over a part of the game that genuinely tested my French skills. I mean, I don't know how much I actually took in, and maybe the quiz is rigged in some kind of way, which would totally undercut the value of doing this challenge. But the next part of the game was something that wasn't going to test my French skills, but rather my patience. Our next opponent is revealed, and we're set to battle with Nivis. But before that, we got a side quest to handle, finding someone named Albia. And this is kind of where I want to take a break from talking about the story, because I think this part of the game highlights 2 of my biggest issues with Pokémon Legends Z-A. First issue, Z-A has my least favorite kind of game design, A to B storytelling. You know what I'm talking about. You initiate a cutscene or moment in the game with a lot of dialogue. It ends with someone being like, "Let's go!" You walk 10 seconds and initiate another cutscene, and then another, and then another, and then another, and then another. ZA pretty much lives and dies by this, and I'd say that Arceus did as well, but to a lesser degree. I'm finding myself constantly walking from point A to B to go into some dialogue, and walking to point C to find myself reading more dialogue. In French nonetheless. I know one of the defenses for this is that I don't have to immediately go from point A to B. I could explore and come back. That's exactly what I did in Arceus and why it took me so long to beat that game. But when the game's progression sort of solely relies on its story, I do need to do all of this A to B to C to D dialogue. And even if I do walk away to go explore something, it's not like Lumiose City is huge. And that's my second issue. Some of my fears and preconceptions for this game came true. I think only being in Lumiose City is a bad idea. It can kind of just become a big blur of a city, especially when exploring the streets. This sense of sameness is sometimes cured by going to the roofs and engaging in parkour, but even then, some of that starts to blend. Almost all of the wild zones are essentially the same visually, with one or two standing out in particular. I think having a city based on Paris, Game Freak could have made it way bigger. They're slightly beholden to X and Y and Gen 6's Lumiose City, but I think they could have gone huge. And if they didn't want to do that, they could have at least done the surrounding routes or cities of the Kalos region. Just something more. One of my reasons for getting into French was learning about Paris and its history. And one thing that fascinated me was Paris's sewers. I know, it's weird. Shut up. But when thinking about this game before it released, I was super excited to see what they do with the sewers. If anything, I would have made it its own little subworld to sort of expand the game. And let me tell you, when the Nivis side quest took us into the sewers, I squealed with joy. It's sewer time, baby! It's okay, I guess. Not quite sure what I was expecting. Unfortunately, our search for Albia brings us to a locked door. Of course, we're tasked with finding a way to open the door, which I think would be illegal, actually. Luckily for us, Game Freak did a lot of cocaine in 2012, so we find a clef key. Maybe it can open the door for us. You didn't even try, you useless piece of sh— After we commit destruction of city property, we find Albia, who I think is just trying to find a place where she can spend some private time. We battle her, win, and finally get our chance to fight Nivis, who of course, we defeat. I was genuinely thinking that Nivis would be more antagonistic throughout the story, but it kind of seems like his main arc ends here. And the next section of the game is where I genuinely think I was the most lost in terms of story. I could play the game with no problem because I could just walk to Yellow Dot forever, but I have genuinely no idea what's happening for the next few hours. Understand, I'm taking a lot of guesses here, and you could probably end every sentence in this next part of the review with the phrase, I think. So the next morning we wake up to find that Seti is missing. Where did she go? Was she kidnapped? Probably. At least, that's kind of what I'm getting from the dialogue. We get a phone call from someone mysterious and we're asked to go to the Clan Deroya. This is where we meet some shady people, including a man named Gypso. This man is my soul animal. And this is where I also suffered my first loss because Mega Skarmory is an absolute menace. After we beat him, we meet Corvault. At this point, I think he's asking us to leave the hotel and join his organization, but they do keep on bringing up money, so I'm half convinced it's a hostage situation. And maybe all of this is happening because of our success in the Z-A Royale. I can't help but wonder why everyone is so intense about it. Now that I think about it, I actually don't know what's the prize for becoming rank A, but it's gotta be something pretty cool if we're resorting to kidnapping, allegedly. But there's also a part of me that believes Corvault isn't evil. He's just kinda cute. So we get some kind of warning, head back to the hotel, and start another meeting, which Seti shows up to. So I'm starting to think that maybe Seti wasn't kidnapped. Gotta put those deduction skills to work, and I genuinely don't know what's going on right now. And hey, my first weird glitch. So we do a few more Mega Evolution boss battles, and Seti goes missing again. Corvault asks us to go take care of some Gengar in an office building and then clean up Mega Crystals in the sewers. Am I just doing chores? I have no idea why I'm doing all of this, but I do know if I just go to the yellow dot and press A, I'll win, so I'm not completely lost. After I finish some of the chores, Corvault talks a little bit about Lysander, and I'm not sure if he idolizes or hates him. The next job we're asked to do is take on these two rich-looking folks from the Federation Rixa in Magistatum, or FRIM for short. At this point, I think we're now getting involved in gang warfare because my chore is to defeat these two trainers in front of children. They don't seem like bad people, so did I just essentially mug a couple of rich people for a criminal boss? Not that there is anything wrong with eating the rich, but seriously, what's happening? It gets even more confusing for me because next we see a mob surrounding Seti and President Bridget, and I feel like maybe now Seti joined Quasar or something, and somehow I'm a part of Clan Deroya for some reason, and then the mob gets mad at us, and then we double team team a guy? I don't know what's going on. And with all that, we're done working for Corvault, which means we finally get to battle him and reach rank C. At the end of the battle, he asks us to join the clan, which kind of confirms some of my suspicions from before. We say no, and he's cool about it. But then he sort of menacingly comes to stay at Hotel AZ, makes a mess of his room, and tips Seti too much money. So I really can't tell if he's a good dude or not. And also, I guess Seti did not join Quasar.
I didn't get any of that right.
Luckily for me, the next part of the game was slightly easier to understand. Because Rudy and Ino have been getting stronger, AZ gives them Mega Rings. We battle, but only Ino can use Mega Evolution because Rudy still only has a Staryu. I think from a storytelling perspective, this is kind of weird, but from a realism perspective, I like it. Not everyone grows at the same pace, so yeah. Then we meet Delphi from Frim. Something about her freaks me out. She comes off like an abused housewife, and when she's on screen, I'm uneased. She invites us to Frim, but before we go, we get some fancy clothes. Fancy yeet. Although Seti decides not to change because Seti kinda sucks. Makes me do everything. We show up at Frem and meet Violine, who is another person that makes me uneasy. All the groups we've met so far come together in some sort of Avengers-style meetup. I'm unsure if it's for a tournament or if we're being asked to join Frem, but ultimately, we leave. Okay. I think even if I knew exactly what was going on, this back and forth storytelling would piss me off. From Delphi's reaction, it seems as though she's warning us to reconsider. Also, she's definitely getting beat. Back at the hotel, we start our usual meeting, but this time, Violine shows up and no one acknowledges it, which just makes this seem like some kind of odd dream sequence. I get genuine bad guy vibes from her, like Sabrina from the anime vibes. I think she's sort of politely threatening us because we left her party, but at this point, I'm just expecting her to be my next opponent. We beat the next 3 Mega Evolution boss battles, and after we gather at the hotel, we get trapped in a special battle zone, courtesy of Frim. We battle against the 2 rich trainers from before. I no longer feel guilty, and once they leave, Delphi gets to let loose. Somehow, I prefer this unhinged version of her, and I think after we defeat her, she takes our side and maybe gives us advice on how to handle Violine. So we go back to the party, and as it turns out, it is for a tournament. We get to crush a few opponents we've already fought, but before we can battle Violine, Zygarde shows up, because it wants to fight us. Ella's here too, making everyone feel uneasy. Clearly, Frim has that signature Paris security standard if these two could just waltz in. We beat Zygarde, and Elle says that there is a reason that Zygarde is here, and we should all think about that. Maybe this is some kind of warning. But oh well, who cares? Get to beat Violine. Yeehaw! Rank B, baby! Back at the hotel and during our usual curry croissant dinner, the group remarks that Floette is nowhere to be found, and it cuts to a scene with AZ and Floette on the roof. He talks about something called Ange, and I'll be honest with you, I have no idea what AZ is talking about ever. Anytime he talks, the dialogue sort of washes over me, and I really never understand anything. This goes for everything he has said up to this point, and anything he will say from here on out, which sort of sucks because I think it's important. The next morning, we set out to meet with Musquat and President Bridget. At this point, I'm not sure if I think she's evil anymore because this game seems to have everyone be antagonistic and then friend. She's not even antagonistic. She just kind of lacks personality. But I still don't want to trust her. We get some more context for why Pokemon are wild and out, but unfortunately, I don't really know what all that context is. I can only assume it has something to do with the Wild Zone's Prism Tower, or maybe Zygarde popping up. Our next opponent is revealed to be a mystery opponent, Syndro. We talk with Millie to see if she can help us get some info on them, which of course means absolutely destroying Millie in a Pokemon battle first. At this point, I think I picked up that X and Y took place 5 years prior to this game, and if so, I like that we get an exact frame time. We go and visit Myosotis because Millie told us to. We learn that Syndro was once a member of Team Flare. And so was Myosotis? Whoa. Oh, I guess the blue gamer chair could have told me that. She has us go to the cafe truck to get more information. As it turns out, this cafe boy is Syndro. And once again, we're getting a menacing character that I can only assume is going to be cool after I defeat them. Also, I think Sindri is mad at Syndro because we're regular customers and it's bad for business. I can't tell if her anger is at me or Syndro. They direct me to the old Cafe Lysander where I'm now almost positive that Sindri is mad with me. And I think it might be because Syndro is being too nice to us. We battle Sindri, and after after we win, we get to visit the old Team Flare base. This was the most nostalgic part of the game for me, and I actually really enjoyed revisiting this base, even if a blind monkey could do this part of the game. In the basement, we find a computer and get some backstory of Floette and Prism Tower, and I feel bad, but I'll have to say it once again, I really didn't take a lot of this in. I should have tried reading everything slower, but for some reason, anytime AZ's name came up, my eyes glazed over and I blacked out for 5 minutes. Zygarde shows up and he brings L. It seems as though he's familiar with the base but has no real memories of it, and then he mentions that the Eternal Flower Floette is necessary for something. And I don't know what it's necessary for. We go back up and talk with Syndro. He asks us to bring him Floette, and he leaves its fate up to us. So, are we supposed to go get Floette and bring it back? I just wanna battle, dude. We have a contract, my friend. Why are you stalling? Back at the hotel, AZ goes over his backstory, which I think is mostly a repeat of what we already know from X and Y and fan speculation. He does mention Ange quite a few times, and I can't really determine what Ange is. I'm sort of just assuming it's Prism Tower, or some kind of lost lover, or maybe it's Floette's real name. I'll note that it does seem like Ino doesn't take what AZ says very well. I guess learning that your 10-foot-tall, 3,000-year-old hotel owner killed some people would surprise you. We decide to not hand over Floette, but instead hand Syndro a
Piping can of whoop ass.
and then Lysander comes to apologize or something. At our nightly dinner, Seti announces that she's also rank A, but before we can celebrate, Floette becomes sickly. And then there's a big shake, and it seems like the final act of our story has begun. Prism Tower is just surging with power, and the risk of Pokemon Mega Evolving all willy-nilly increases. Seti and I battle to determine who is the better rank A battler, and who should be the one to save the day. Of course, I win, but Seti still gets to pretend to be the hero, because Seti kind of sucks. So Floette Mega Evolves and carries Seti to the top of Prism Tower, which is where AZ's old throne is now located. With Seti and Mega Floette there, the tower's energy is absorbed and everything calms down. And Seti dies. She just straight up dies. Turns out she's fine, but now Prism Tower has taken on some kind of plant form, and this is the exact climactic scene I'd expect out of a Ghibli movie, not Pokemon. And as predicted, Mega Pokemon be wildin'. All the groups come together and we make a plan to try to get to Zygarde. This means teaming up with all the groups to take out some of the Mega Evolved Pokemon, and I finally got from this exchange of dialogue that Albia and Nivis are siblings. Deduction hat firmly placed on head. Each group helps me out in their own special way. Storytelling wise, this is the kind of stuff I really like. Although all the groups were antagonistic at one point, they all turned out to be pretty cool. Still don't trust the president, and there's a part of me that wants a central evil person. Unless we eventually find Zygarde and Lysander, and we help Zygarde Mega Evolve with the Ball of Mud that we got earlier in the game. Probably my least favorite Mega from this game. Also, complete side note, the fact there isn't a whole subplot of this game where you have to collect Zygarde cells is simultaneously impressive that Game Freak decided to subvert expectations by not doing it, but also feels like an obvious thing that should have been in the game. Maybe it's because I'm playing in French, but this ending sort of falls flat because I kind of feel like Zygarde could have been more involved besides its random odd encounters. The way the game starts with a Zygarde cell kind of set up that expectation for me. But anyways, we defeat Prism Tower Mega Eternal Flower Floette, or PTMF for short, and the game just ends, credits roll, and AZ dies. As mentioned, any emotional connection I could have had with him gets totally undercut by the fact that I didn't understand a single word he ever said. Not a criticism of the game, but rather an observation of my experience as a player. I think playing the game like this kind of allowed me to see it in a different way. After a few releases of games that could be argued were too big for their own good, Game Freak wanted to make something a bit more contained. I can respect that. I also think they were really trying to tell a dramatic story to give a good ending to our Kalos saga. But I kind of think that maybe they didn't succeed at either. There are so many places you could fly to and roam around in the game, which kind of gives you the illusion of grand scale, but Lumiose is just not interesting enough to be its own game. It's a sandbox experience, but French. Unfortunately, it's just not that interesting of a sandbox, and even though I didn't understand everything that was being said in the story, I do know that the way the game told the story was simply obnoxious. This meant that when I did go back and started playing in English, I dreaded a lot of the main story. I don't feel that way about any other Pokemon games, except for maybe X and Y, ironically. I think the battle system is okay, but the attacks and status conditions don't feel refined enough to work with. Some moves like most rock-type attacks are completely useless in this game. And I'm yet to notice any awfulness from being confused, drowsy, or paralyzed, while being poisoned or burned would send me into a panic. I don't imagine they'll do anything like this in a mainline main series game, and there's no telling what kind of battle mechanics they'll have in the next Legends game, but this version of this battle mechanic feels very beta testy. I want to see it more refined. Overall, I think the game is passable even if I have nitpicks and problems with it. There's a lot I enjoy about the game, which I might talk about in another video some other day after I let my thoughts simmer. I'll probably like it a lot more once I complete playing it in English and finish the post story, and even though I loathe DLC, there's a good chance it'll improve the experience for me, just like with Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet. But who cares about that? I think the more important question is my French better? I think I could say undoubtedly yes. Firstly, I looked up a lot of new words, and even if those words were within the context of battles, competition, and Pokemon, I still learned a lot. There were also phrases that I saw consistently, like Decord and Alonzi, that are now burned into my brain. But playing this game as quickly as I did for the sake of this review and to avoid spoilers, I probably didn't immerse myself as much as I could have. So I started playing it for a second time in French. I know that playing this game over and over again isn't gonna magically make me fluent, but I do want to see just how well I've improved. It's time for my follow-up assessment test. A quick note for the assessment test. Max recorded with his iPhone and he said it with his Apple Watch, which he totally bragged to me about. But as soon as he set it up and put his hand down, it zoomed in and all of Max's footage looks like this. So I guess Apple Watches suck. So it has been 3 weeks, I think, since our initial test. So we're here today to test to see, can I learn French from Pokémon Legends Z-A? Maxime, you have 5 more questions.
As we decided, the first 2 are not Pokemon related since you answered both of those perfectly.
Okay.
And the last 3 are still Pokemon related to give you a little bit of a heads up.
Okay.
But I still kept that same difficulty curve.
I crack under pressure really easily.
It's fine.
Hit me.
Question 1.
Ooh.
Qui est ton meilleur ami?
Mon meilleur ami. Unlikely Yusha?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I think the hardest part about that one was I was nervous about being like, should I say Potomax? Should I say Potomax? Should I say Potomax?
No. No, for sure. Shout out to Yusha. Absolutely. Question 2.
Mm-hmm.
Depuis combien de temps es-tu au Japon?
I think I know what you're asking. You're asking one of 2 questions. I just don't know how to answer either one of those questions. Is it just like Onsia? Maintenant Onsia? So I'm thinking one of 2 questions. Either
Okay.
what time is it right now in Japan, or how long have you been in Japan?
Yeah, it was for how long have you been in Japan?
Yeah, that was my first thought, but I was like, you know what? I gotta answer something.
It's a level 2.
That's not good.
Alright. Quelle est la Pokéball la plus puissante dans les jeux Pokémon? Oh no! First X regretting the video idea.
I'm so hungover.
No excuses.
Master Ball.
Got it?
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, alright.
And if you were to answer it at full length, it would be la Pokéball la plus puissante est la Master Ball.
Oh, that's a lot of laws there.
Level 4. Si tu pouvais créer un nouveau Pokémon, quel serait son type et à quoi ressemblerait-il? It's getting trickier. So.
Can I give you what I kind of think the question is? If you could create a new Pokemon that goes with water type, what Pokemon would you make?
You're fairly close.
You're fairly close.
So yeah.
Okay. Don't use Japanese. I keep trying to. Okay. It's my panic language. Si nouveau Pokemon create. Don't use Japanese. Je veux créer grass type.
Eh?
Je veux crier bear.
So you understood the question. I'm gonna rephrase this. The structure of that sentence was really rough. If you could create a new Pokemon, what would be its type and what would it look like? So
Okay, yeah.
you would
yeah.
make a grass bear. So yeah.
Yes.
Last question. Je suis un Pokémon qui vit dans les eaux glaciales et qui ne sort que pour trouver de la nourriture par temps froid. Qui suis-je?
I'm going to be 100% with you. I think this is the first question you asked where I have no idea. I'm sweating bullets right now.
That's level 5, so don't be too hard on yourself.
I have there's 4 words I can maybe parse from it, but I got nothing. My rule is I got to answer something though. So, 2S Vanillix.
No, I'm not Vanillix. Good try. So basically, I put the Pokédex entry of a Pokemon in the question. So
Yeah.
I will read it to you in English to see if you actually know the trivia question. I am a Pokemon who lives in cold water, and I only go out to find food by cold weather. Who am I?
Jeez, I actually don't even know.
That's your favorite boy.
This is Wooper?
That's Wooper's
Oh my God!
Pokédex
No!
entry. Oh yeah, yeah.
How did I fail that question? Oh no. Okay. Oh, idiot. Oh, I look like a poser now. Oh no. Oh. All those Wooper
You don't
fans.
even know the Pokédex entry of your favorite Pokemon.
I
Shame.
don't, dude. So
How do you feel?
I feel like I did better in some areas and worse in other areas. Let's see. What grade would you give me? And you could be as honest as you need to. This is a work in progress.
Your comprehension and your level of figuring it out is pretty good. I would give you a B for that. You still need a lot of work on your pronunciation and sentence structure, but let's be generous and I'll give you that C+.
Success!
Thank you for joining me for this video, Maxim. Can you go ahead and give yourself a shout out?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you speak English, I suppose you do. I do have a podcast with my friend Scotch and Hobbies, releasing every 2 weeks where we talk about the random video games that we play, mostly crappy, weird stuff. Go check that out. It's called The Trash Station. It's pretty fun. And if you don't mind reading English subtitles, I do have a lot of videos on YouTube on a channel called Des Jeux Pis de la Bière. Please write that down free on the screen. And yeah, I basically just explore Quebec's culture through games and video games. So coming up soon, I have a video where I actually found a bunch of games where Quebec French is represented in video games, and I try to show that out and how our culture is used in video games.
Thank you for coming on. Thank you for doing all this. And thank you for everything you do, including making the thumbnail for this video.
What?
Okay. This was an interesting, really fun, and mentally exhausting video to make. I learned that playing a game all the way through in a language you don't speak can be very mentally taxing, but also it's a perfectly fine way to practice that language. Up until this point, I've been using Duolingo to study, and I've been watching Code Lyoko in French for listening practice. And then sometimes I'll send a message to Max in French, and then naturally he'll respond in French, and then I'll panic and not reply. It's a mess. So my language journey with French is going to be a long, ongoing process. Now, you may have noticed that there are a few manhole covers featuring Pokemon throughout the game, and if for any reason this tickled your brain, you'd be happy to know that they're real. Kind of. I've been traveling all around Japan to see its Pokelids, and I've been documenting that journey on my other channel, Freezack's Adventures. I'd very much appreciate it if you could jump over there and give that channel and give those videos some love. They need some love. If you're interested in supporting me or my channel, then please feel free to donate on Patreon and subscribe if you enjoyed this video for whatever reason. And of course, be on the lookout for more videos just like this. Next time, I think I'm gonna play all the way through Sword and Shield to see if I can finally learn English.